currently Thursday morning, and welcome to this week's vlog. I'm Courtney, and this is my life of projects. I'm a knitter who also spins their own yarn, and I do some quilting and some embroidery as well, because life is too short for just one project, and I don't have the attention span to only do one thing at a time. If you watched last week's video, I talked about my November projects. And then at about 4:30 this morning, all of that went out the window. Not all of that, but I remembered that I have to make a quilt for my mom. My aunt bought this fabric. It's a panel with a red truck with some snow and Christmas trees on it. My aunt bought this for my mom. She wants me to make it for her for Christmas and like a little lap quilt, a couch quilt. So I need to go to the store today and get fabric for a border for this panel. And then also at 4:30 this morning, my brain was like, I hate all of my knitting project bags. I should make new ones. So gotta love how ADHD works sometimes, and we're just gonna follow the dopamine. So I have these two linen fabrics. I've had them in my stash for a while, and at 4:30, my brain was like, hey, we should use those. We should make project bags. I have one project bag that I really like, so I found a pattern that is pretty similar to that bag, and I purchased that pattern off of Etsy. I'll link it in the description box. But in addition to everything else I said I was going to do in the month of November, I'm going to try to make project bags. Maybe this weekend. I need a couple other things that I don't have, like the interfacing and some cord. So once I get those, I might get to making those this weekend. We'll see. But I've made bags in the past. I've made zippered pouches, and I've made drawstring bags, but I didn't like the pattern that I was using. It's one I kind of just made up, and it didn't have a lining. So I have one that has a lining. It also uses interfacing, and we'll see how I do with that, because it's been a long time since I've used interfacing or tried to make anything 3D. I make flat quilts in square shapes, no curves. So that'll be interesting. The other thing that I realized I wanted to make and I didn't include in my November project plans was a wall hanging block for the holiday season, maybe like a snowflake or something, or maybe just a tree, something that's not just Christmas, but I can leave up for January as well. So I've got a couple patterns. I might use this book. It has this quilt and several other patterns inside, but I might be able to take the tree block there or the snowflake and make one of those into a wall hanging. So I'd like to have that done sometime in the first part of December. So we'll see if I get to that. But today's plan is I'm going to go to the quilt shop this afternoon after work, and then I also am going to the Knitting Guild meeting tonight. And I won't film that because it's my first meeting, brand new person. I'm not going to walk in filming them, but I'm going to take either my sweater project or the Brancusi mitts and work on that during the meeting. So I'm hoping that I will get some progress done on those tonight. Still haven't made any progress on the mini-series Sew Along. Probably won't get to that until tomorrow, but I have some catching up to do on that as well. So let's get into it. So you know what's super dangerous? Being able to walk to the quilt shop from my house. They had this really cute Christmassy quilt in the window that I kind of want to make, but I have no time. I looked at a couple different Christmassy fabrics. I really liked this dark green one, but it didn't really go with the panel. And I thought about using some blue since most of the quilt is blue, but I ended up going with kind of a mistletoe green and red print for the border. Then I headed off to the Knitting Guild meeting, and I absolutely buckle my wheel in when I travel with it. And I wore my hand knit socks, I figured that was only appropriate for my first Knitting Guild meeting. All right, it's Friday afternoon. I just finished up work for the day, and I wanted to give you a quick update. Last night was I almost said Quilt Guild. Last night was the Knitting and Spinning Guild meeting, and this was the first meeting I'd been to. The topic of the night was spinning. We were all asked to bring our spinning wheels if we had them, and drop spindles and teach others about spinning. So that was super fun. I was really excited to get to bring my wheel out. And even though I wasn't planning on starting a new spinning project, I brought some roving with me and got started on some baby camel and merino. And chatting with another spinner, she gave me an idea for how I might want to ply it to have a stretchier, bouncier yarn. So I'm gonna probably try that out. But it was really fun to get to meet some other knitters and spinners in the area, so I really enjoyed the meeting, and I'm looking forward to next month's. In other news, I just wanted to give an update, a kitten-free update, on the Brancusi mitts. I will pop some footage in here. I pulled out the pattern and my notes from where I had left off working on these like 2 years ago, and I could not figure out where I was, and I don't think I had actually properly written down where I had stopped in the pattern, so I had to kind of try to go forward on one row, realize it wasn't the right row or the right pattern that I was working on, and go backwards and try it again. But I finally figured out where I am in the pattern and got that all squared away. So now my notations are correct. I can keep working on those mitts and hopefully get those done this month. And I'll be taking those with me when I go on my trip next week. I also need to print the pattern for the bags that I want to make. So I'm going to do that and maybe cut out the fabric that I've got for those. I don't have the interfacing yet. That should get here tomorrow, but I can at least go ahead and cut out the fabric today and maybe make a project bag tomorrow. So the rest of the day, my plan is to spend some time sewing and knitting. Dinner is already cooked. I do have to run out to the grocery store and just pick up one thing that I ran out of yesterday, but I really don't have any other responsibilities that I absolutely have to get done. So that means I have plenty of time for crafting. So I'm gonna go get started. I'm finishing up this block, I'm looking at the whites that I have, and I realized I'm not using the Allison Glass, I'm using a Kona. So yeah, this does not match. It's fine. It'll be fine. Right? Sure, it's fine. I pulled out the sweater project and I got some more knitting done on that. I fixed the error that I had made, and of course the kitten really wanted to help with this sweater, as he always does. Okay, so it is now Saturday afternoon, and I'm sorry if you hear some background noise. There's a kitten over there, and a minute ago they were enjoying the open window because it is a ridiculously warm 70 degrees in Vermont today. I don't love that. I'm ready for winter. I love the cooler weather, but it is what it is, and the cats are really enjoying the window being open. But last night I worked on the mini series Sew Along, the first of the white blocks that I'm going to do, and about 3/4 of the way through the block I was working on, I realized that the white that I was using on it was not the Allison Glass white, it was just like a Kona solid. So the whites aren't exactly the same, but I finished it and you can't really tell, and I think I used the Allison Glass whites for these two side pieces, so I don't think it's really going to make a huge difference, and I'll use the Allison Glass for the rest of the blocks. But it is what it is. I think it'll be fine. I don't think it'll be super noticeable once it's in the quilt, but this was probably one of the hardest blocks so far. Just having to make those really small and narrow folds when I was cutting off the excess on the back. That took a little while to get the hang of, just because they are so very close together and narrow, and one of my points did not end up being a point, but it's fine. I'm not super worried about it. But yeah, this was definitely one of the more difficult blocks to kind of figure out just because of the way you had to do the folding. But that one's done, and I'll probably work on the next of those maybe tomorrow. Today I'm going to start, maybe finish the quilt for my mom that my aunt wanted me to do. This is the panel that's a red truck Christmas fabric, and I went to the quilt shop the other day and I ended up getting this kind of mistletoe fabric, so green with some red berries on it, and there's a little bit of mistletoe kind of underneath the truck. So I'm going to use this for the border, and then mom loves buffalo plaid, so I'm going to put buffalo plaid on the backing, and I'm going to do all of it on my machine, including the quilting, just because it is a smaller quilt and I have room for that. So I'm going to hopefully get all of that done this weekend. I'm definitely going to get the front piece today because it's just 4 strips of fabric. That won't take very long. And then I have to see if I have enough batting. That's the one thing I'm not sure about. I might need to run to the store and buy more. So depending on if I have enough of that, I can put the backing on it and at least get the quilt sandwich made. I don't know if I'll get the quilting all done this weekend, but that's the plan. And then probably some more knitting later tonight after dinner when we're watching TV on the couch. So let's get into it.
So I had done 5-inch borders all the way around the panel, and I didn't like how it made the quilt kind of more square. I wanted it to be longer so that you could snuggle under it on the couch. So I ended up adding some additional fabric just to the top and bottom so that the picture would still be upright, but it was a good length to put over your legs on the couch. So as I was working on knitting this sweater tonight, I realized I had dropped a stitch a few rows back. So that is a pain. I tried several different ways to reattach it. I'm not the best at fixing this type of mistake, especially with Fair Isle knitting. Because of all the stranding on the back, it makes it super hard to pick that stitch back up. But I think I did a decent job. I think kind of the little pulls will work their way out as the sweater gets blocked and stretches. So good enough.
So it is Tuesday morning and I am packing and getting ready to head to the airport again for another trip, this time for work. I'm going to take both my Brancusi mitts and my sock project. On the way back, I know I'm going to be on a late flight, so there's not going to be any light, so I can work on the sock without having to see. The Brancusi mitts I'll probably work on the plane today. So that will be a next week's vlog because I'm going to get this one edited and uploaded so I don't have to take two computers when I travel. But just a couple of updates. As you saw, I did not get to making the project bags. The last piece that I needed just arrived today, so I'll maybe work on that this weekend. And then I didn't finish the quilt for my mom. I need to figure out if I do actually have enough of the buffalo plaid backing now that I added that additional border onto there. So I'll figure that out later. No more progress has been made on the mini-series So Long. I have 5 blocks to do and it ends like this week. So this is a bonus week, but I'm probably not gonna finish that challenge on time. It's fine, it's fine. I'll still get it done in the month of November, but it just won't be done on time. It's fine, we're fine. I also wanted to let you know that I've started putting bloopers from my filming on my Instagram. It's in my stories and a highlight at the top. So be sure to click that link down in the description box and go see the bloopers over on Instagram. But that's all I've got for this week. I hope you enjoyed this week's vlog. If you did, don't forget to give it a like and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what projects you're working on and don't forget to subscribe. Have a great week and I will see you next time.